Whether screen is visible to everyone? Hello? Can anyone reply? Please give the reply fastly because
Yes, sir.
today I'm taking lecture with the help of laptop only because on mobile I will have to join another meeting. So if a screen will not be visible or if my voice will not be proper, then anyone has to unmute yourself and you have to give me the feedback. So we'll start. So in the last lecture, we have started the refrigerant, that is nothing but last part of from our chapter number 1, and we have seen the classification of refrigerant. So quickly, within first 5 minutes, I will revise the thing which we have covered in the last lecture because many of the students were absent. So we have seen the classification between primary refrigerant and secondary refrigerant. So we are knowing that primary refrigerant is classified into 4 categories, whereas secondary refrigerant is classified into 2 categories. So primary refrigerant are nothing but halocarbon, azeotropy, inorganic, and hydrocarbon refrigerant. So out of that, we have seen all the primary refrigerant, that is nothing but halocarbon refrigerant, then uh, inorganic, then azeotropy, and hydrocarbon refrigerant. So primary refrigerant, we have seen the definition. Secondary refrigerant, we have seen the definition. Then whatever 4 categories of primary refrigerants are there. So related to the halocarbon refrigerant, that is also called as a freon group of refrigerant. We have seen the its market name as well as its common application related to the halocarbon refrigerant. Then we have seen the common properties related to the halocarbon refrigerant. Then here are the applications of those halocarbon refrigerant. Then how we can designate the refrigerant, halocarbon refrigerant. That is nothing but R dash XYZ. What is the meaning of Z? What is the meaning of Y? What is the meaning of X? What is the meaning of R also? That also we have seen. And we have taken the some of the example, and with the help of that example we have found out the chemical formula based on the refrigerant number, as well as we have found out the refrigerant number based on the chemical formula, vice versa also. Then we have seen azeotropy refrigerant. So azeotropy refrigerant will be again of 2 types, that is called as the azeotropy refrigerant and non-azeotropy refrigerant. So azeotropy refrigerant will be designated by 500 series, whereas non-azeotropy, that is called as the geotropy refrigerant, is designated by 400 series. So we have seen the example of that azeotropy refrigerant and common properties. Then after that, we have started the inorganic refrigerant. Inorganic refrigerant means which are available abundantly in the nature itself. That is called as the inorganic refrigerant. Then what are the common example of inorganic refrigerant that we have seen? Then designation system or nomenclature system of inorganic refrigerant, that also we have seen. That is nothing but 700 plus molecular weight. And we have seen some of the common properties related to the common inorganic refrigerants which are used in day-to-day life. Then we have seen hydrocarbon refrigerant. Hydrocarbon refrigerants are nothing but the organic compound which are consisting of carbon and hydrogen only. So we have seen hydrocarbon refrigerant or properties related to hydrocarbon refrigerant. Then chemical formula, refrigerant number, and we have seen the designation system also. So in our last lecture, we were up to here. Now we have to start the secondary refrigerant. So at the start only, I have differentiated between primary refrigerant and secondary refrigerant. Primary refrigerant means which are directly taking part in the refrigeration system. So the refrigerant which is directly absorbing the heat from the substance or the space which we want to cool, that is called as a primary refrigerant. Whereas secondary refrigerant is nothing but the refrigerant which is first cooled by the primary refrigerant. Second refrigerant is nothing but the refrigerant which is first cooled by the primary refrigerant, and then that will be utilized or that will be used to cool the space or the substance which we want to cool. So that will be called as a secondary refrigerant. So that secondary refrigerant, that will be also called as a brine solution, or that is also called as a antifreeze. Secondary refrigerant is also called as a brine solution, or that is also called as a antifreeze. So under secondary refrigerant, we can consider water as a secondary refrigerant as well as brine solution as a secondary refrigerant. Now, how we can use water as a secondary refrigerant? Suppose here we are having one PCRS system. Suppose this is the PCRS system and this is the evaporator of that PCRS system where cooling effect is being produced. So here, if I will pass the water, through this evaporator of that PCRS system. So what will happen? Whatever refrigerant, primary refrigerant which is passing through that PCRS system, that will absorb the heat from the water which is being circulated through this system or through this compartment. And because of the same, here the temperature of water will goes on decreasing. That means at the outlet we will have the cold water. And here initially we were having the water which is having the temperature as the atmospheric temperature. So temperature or heat from the water is being absorbed from the primary refrigerant. That means here whatever primary refrigerant is there, that is absorbing the heat from the secondary refrigerant, and because of the same, your secondary refrigerant is being cooled. Now whatever this cold water or chilled water is there, if I will pass the air over that chilled water, that means if I will use that water as a secondary refrigerant in case of air conditioning plant. So here if I will pass the air, over that chilled water, then what will happen? That chilled water will absorb the heat from the air. And because of the same, I will get the cold air. And here, if my intention is to produce the cold air, that means if my intention is to absorb the heat from that air, then here who is absorbing the heat from that air? That chilled water or cold water is absorbing the heat from the air. That is indirect heat absorption. But how we are producing the chilled water or cold water? So chilled water or cold water is produced by absorbing the heat from the secondary refrigerant. So, or absorbing the heat from that water. So here, whatever this water is there, that water is acting as a secondary refrigerant in case of air conditioning plant. Are you getting? So here, secondary refrigerant are nothing but the refrigerant which are first cooled by the primary refrigerant. म्हणजे ह्या ठिकाणी आपण फर्स्ट काय केलं, वॉटरला कूल केलं, and that will be utilized or that is used for absorbing the heat from the substance which we want to cool or space which we want to cool. So here our main target or my main intention was to cool the air. So for cooling of the air, we are first cooling the water, and that cooled water is utilized for absorbing the heat from that air. So here that water will be called as a secondary refrigerant. Are you getting? So secondary refrigerant will be of two types. First one will be called as a water. Second one will be called as a brine solution. Secondary refrigerant will be of two types. First one will be called as water. Second one will be called as a brine solution. So when to use water as a secondary refrigerant? So when I want to maintain the temperature of the substance or a space, when I want to maintain the temperature of a substance or space above 0 degree centigrade, then in that case water can be used as a secondary refrigerant. Now in case of air conditioning plant मध्ये आपल्याला एअरचं टेम्परेचर किती मेंटेन करायचं असतं? जे काही कोल्ड एअर असते किंवा कंडिशन एअर असते, कंडिशन एअरचं टेम्परेचर किती मेंटेन करायचं असतं? सपोज 18 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड. So in that case, here as this temperature is above 18 degree centigrade, that's why here I can use the water as a secondary refrigerant. So when to use water as a secondary refrigerant? When required temperature is above 0 degree centigrade. But in case of suppose ice manufacturing industry, where I have to produce ice or I have to produce the ice block. So I think last time I have given this example. Suppose here these are nothing but the ice can, and inside that ice can, suppose I am having the water, and here if I want to convert that water from that ice can into ice block, then here for conversion of water from ice can into ice block, here surrounding to that ice can, I will have the brine solution. So here brine solution is acting as a secondary refrigerant. Brine means it is the mixture of water plus salt. Brine is nothing but mixture of water plus salt. Water plus salt means that salt may be sodium NaCl, or that may be calcium chloride. That may be NaCl or that may be calcium chloride. So when I'm going to mix NaCl with water, when I'm going to mix NaCl with water, then though we are knowing that freezing point temperature of water is 0 degree centigrade, 0 degree centigrade, then also the mixture NaCl plus Cl H2O will have the freezing point temperature as a minus 21 degree centigrade. Minus 21 degree centigrade. So this will be called as the NaCl brine solution. This will be called as the NaCl brine solution. So instead of NaCl, NaCl means salt. Whatever edible salt is there, that is called as the NaCl, sodium chloride. Instead of NaCl, if I'm going to put or if I'm going to put, take as a CaCl2, calcium chloride. If I'm going to take the CaCl2 as a brine solution, then CaCl2 brine solution will have the CaCl2 plus water. If I'm going to mix water inside the CaCl2, then whatever that calcium chloride brine solution will be there, the freezing point temperature of that calcium chloride brine solution will be nearly about minus 56 degrees centigrade. Minus 56 degrees centigrade. So here, when to use brine solution as a secondary refrigerant, if I want to use or if I want to maintain required temperature, if I want to maintain required temperature below 0 degree centigrade, आता या ठिकाणी आइस ब्लॉक जर तयार करायचे असतील तर आइस ब्लॉक तयार करण्यासाठी मला सराउंडिंगचं टेम्परेचर, कारण की आइस ब्लॉक किती टेम्परेचरला फॉर्म होत आहेत, इफ दॅट वॉटर विल बी प्युअर then that ice block will be formed at 0 degree centigrade, near about 0 degree centigrade. So to produce near about 0 degree centigrade, whatever surrounding solution will be there, I have to maintain that surrounding solution below 0 degree centigrade. So here, in that case, I can use the brine solution as a secondary refrigerant. Instead of salt, I can use glycol, ethylene glycol or propylene glycol. So water plus ethylene or propylene glycol. So by mixing the glycol, ethylene or propylene inside the water also, I can lower the temperature below 0 degree centigrade. I can lower the temperature below 0 degree centigrade. So here I can have the salt brine solution or glycol brine solution also. So this was related to the secondary refrigerant. Now after seeing the primary refrigerant and secondary refrigerant, next point is the properties of refrigerant. Next point is the properties of refrigerant. So as we are knowing that not a single refrigerant can be called as the ideal refrigerant. Why? Have you seen that any single refrigerant is used for all the application? Consider any example. So have you seen that the same refrigerant is used for all the application? No. Why? Because each and every refrigerant will have the different properties. So according to different properties suitable for the different application, according to different properties which are suitable for different application, we can select the refrigerant for the particular application. So whatever number of refrigerants are there, so each and every refrigerant will possess its own properties. So whatever properties are there, properties of refrigerants are there, those are broadly classified into three categories. Properties of refrigerants are broadly classified into three categories. Out of that, first one is called as a thermodynamic property. Second one is called as a chemical property, that is also called as a safe working property. Second one is called as a chemical property, also called as a safe working property. And third one is called as a physical property. Third one is called as a physical property. So we have to see one by one all the types of properties. That is nothing but thermodynamic property, chemical property, and physical property. So before proceeding, let me give the feedback whether screen is visible to everyone. Yes or no? You can write in the chat box also. Whether screen is visible to everyone. Yes or no? Whether my voice is proper. So if there will be some distraction or disturbances, please let me know. It means if screen will not be visible or if my voice will not be proper, please let me know. So we'll see all the properties one by one. So out of these three, first of all, we will see thermodynamic properties. So thermodynamic properties means, so we have seen the subject called as a thermodynamic. So related to the refrigerant, whatever thermodynamic properties will be there. So basically there will be 5 thermodynamic properties related to the refrigerant. First one will be called as the boiling point temperature of the refrigerant. First one will be called as the boiling point temperature of the refrigerant. Second one will be called as the freezing point temperature of the refrigerant. So each and every refrigerant will have the different boiling point temperature. Will have the different boiling point temperature at particular pressure or at atmospheric pressure, you can also say. So according to your application, you have to select which refrigerant is suitable for which application. Then freezing point temperature. So freezing point temperature means so the temperature at which that liquid refrigerant is getting converted into solid or that is getting freezed, that will be called as the freezing point temperature. So each and every refrigerant will have the different freezing point. Sorry, whether my screen is visible to everyone? Hello, आवाज येतोय माझा? कोणतरी सांगा. Sorry. So second one is nothing but the freezing point temperature. Next one is nothing but evaporator and condenser pressure. After that, critical temperature and pressure. And last one is nothing but the latent heat of vaporization. Last one is nothing but latent heat of vaporization. Now we will see all those thermodynamic properties one by one. All those thermodynamic properties one by one. Out of that, first one is nothing but the boiling point temperature. So what do you think? What should be the boiling point temperature? What do you think? What should be the boiling point temperature? That should be high or that should be low for ideal refrigerant? Can anyone tell me? That should be low. Okay. So for ideal refrigerant, the low boiling point temperature is always preferred. Low boiling point temperature is always preferred. So while selecting the refrigerant, you have to select that boiling point temperature of that refrigerant should be as low as possible. Should be as low as possible. So what will happen if the boiling point temperature of the refrigerant will be as low as possible? In that case, the refrigerating capacity of the plant will goes on increasing. In that case, the refrigerating capacity of the plant will goes on increasing, and that in turns will increase the COP of the plant. So if I want to increase the COP of the plant, any refrigerating plant, then while selecting the refrigerant, I have to choose the refrigerant which is having the low boiling point temperature. So if boiling point temperature at atmospheric pressure is high, then refrigerating capacity of the plant reduces, That means the COP of the plant will also go on reducing. So whatever different types of refrigerant we have seen. So if I will see the boiling point temperature for different refrigerant. So if I will consider the R11 as the refrigerant, then boiling point temperature at atmospheric pressure for R11 is nothing but 21.77 degrees centigrade. Then for R12, boiling point temperature means the temperature at which that refrigerant, liquid refrigerant, is getting converted into vapor refrigerant. So that is our ultimate aim in case of condenser, sorry, in case of evaporator. So by absorbing the heat, that liquid refrigerant should get converted into vapor refrigerant, easily get converted into vapor refrigerant. If boiling point temperature of that refrigerant will be high, then there may be the chances that there will not be the possibility that all the liquid refrigerant is getting converted into vapor refrigerant. So there may be the chances that along with vapor refrigerant, some of the liquid refrigerant may come at the time of suction stroke of the compressor. So if some of the liquid refrigerant will come inside the compressor, then there will be the problem in the compressor. So to avoid that problem, to avoid that malfunctioning of that compressor, we have to take care that all the liquid refrigerant should get converted into vapor refrigerant in the evaporator itself. That's why here another refrigerant R12 is having the boiling point temperature as a minus 29 degrees centigrade. R21 is having the boiling point temperature as a 9 degrees centigrade. R22 is having the boiling point temperature as a minus 41 degrees centigrade. R30 boiling point temperature 39.8 degrees centigrade. Then R40 is having the boiling point temperature minus 23.7 degrees centigrade. And R113 47.6 degrees centigrade. R717 that is having the boiling point temperature as a minus 10 degrees centigrade. So according to our application, we have to select the proper refrigerant for the proper application. Then second one is nothing but the freezing point temperature. Second one is nothing but freezing point temperature. So here that freezing point temperature comes into picture. Where that freezing point temperature comes into picture. So lowest temperature we are achieving. Lowest temperature we are achieving inside the evaporator. So if our evaporator temperature is lower than the freezing point temperature of the refrigerant which is being used, then there may be the chances that that refrigerant itself will get freeze. That refrigerant itself will get freeze inside the evaporator. That means there will not be the circulation of refrigerant of the system. So that will be the problematic case. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant in such a way that freezing point temperature of that refrigerant should be well below than the operating evaporator temperature. म्हणजे आपलं इव्हापरेटरचं जे काय टेम्परेचर असतं त्या इव्हापरेटरच्या टेम्परेचरपेक्षा कमी त्या रेफ्रिजरंटचं काय असलं पाहिजे, फ्रीजिंग पॉईंट टेम्परेचर असलं पाहिजे. जर इव्हापरेटरचं टेम्परेचर समजा तुमचं आहे -20 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड किंवा -10 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड आहे, तुम्ही इव्हापरेटरचं टेम्परेचर जर -10 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड मेंटेन करत असाल आणि तुम्ही वॉटर ॲज अ रेफ्रिजरंट यूज केलं तर काय होणार आहे, त्या इव्हापरेटर मध्ये तो वॉटर काय होणार आहे, फ्रीज होणार आहे. म्हणजे ते वॉटरचं कन्वर्जन कशामध्ये होणार आहे, आईस मध्ये होणार आहे. का? कारण की वॉटरचं फ्रीजिंग पॉईंट टेम्परेचर किती आहे, 0 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड आहे. तर 0 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला ज्यावेळेस ते वॉटर ते इव्हापरेटर मधून पास होईल त्यावेळेस त्याचं कन्वर्जन कशामध्ये होणार आहे, सॉलिड मध्ये होणार आहे. त्यामुळे तो वॉटर सर्क्युलेट होणार नाही त्या सिस्टीम मध्ये. सो हिअर while selecting the refrigerant we have to take care that the freezing point temperature of that refrigerant should be well below than the operating evaporator temperature. So here the evaporating temperature for different refrigerant is mentioned in this in that table. So you can see R11. So what is the evaporating temperature for R11? Sorry, freezing point temperature for R11 -111 degree centigrade. R12 will have the freezing point temperature म्हणजे -111 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला काय होणार आहे, लिक्विड R11 चं कन्वर्जन सॉलिड R11 मध्ये होणार आहे. सो दॅट विल बी कॉल्ड एज अ फ्रीजिंग पॉइंट टेम्परेचर. Okay, now R12 will have the freezing point temperature -157, R22 -160, R117 -77, R764 will have the freezing point temperature as a minus 75 degrees centigrade. So that is the second property. Then third property is nothing but the evaporator and condenser pressure. So as we are knowing that vapor compression refrigeration system is called as a two pressure system. Why we are calling it as a two pressure system? Because we are maintaining lower pressure. We are maintaining lower pressure in the evaporator side and higher pressure in the condenser side. Why we are maintaining lower pressure in the evaporator side and why we are maintaining higher pressure in the condenser side? Because our main objective in the condenser is to transfer the liquid into vapor, or to convert the liquid, sorry, main objective in the condenser is to convert the vapor into liquid. Vapor into liquid. So if I want to convert vapor into liquid, if I want to convert vapor into liquid, so for conversion of vapor into liquid, the temperature which is crucial is nothing but the boiling point temperature. Is nothing but boiling point temperature. So here for easy conversion of vapor into liquid, for easy conversion of vapor into liquid, the boiling point temperature should be lower. म्हणजे boiling point temperature कसा असला पाहिजे, कमीत कमी असला पाहिजे. बॉइलिंग पॉइंट टेम्परेचर कमीत कमी असेल तर त्या ठिकाणी काय होणार आहे, पेपरचं कन्वर्जन काय होणार आहे, इझिली लिक्विड मध्ये होणार. पेपरचं कन्वर्जन इझिली लिक्विड मध्ये होणार आहे. सो हियर फॉर conversion of paper into liquid easily, we are increasing the pressure. We are increasing the pressure, and by increasing the pressure, sorry, त्या ठिकाणी बॉइलिंग पॉइंट टेम्परेचर कसं असलं पाहिजे, आपला जास्तीत जास्त असलं पाहिजे. म्हणजे इझिली ते काय झालं पाहिजे, ते रेफ्रिजरंट जे आहे ते इझिली पेपरचं कन्वर्जन लिक्विड मध्ये झालं पाहिजे. आता इझिली पेपरचं कन्वर्जन लिक्विड मध्ये कधी होणार आहे, अंडरस्टँडिंग साठी तुमच्याकडे एक्झाम्पल काय घेतो, वॉटर याच रेफ्रिजरंट कन्सिडर होतं. आता वॉटरचं जर पेपरचं कन्वर्जन लिक्विड मध्ये व्हायचं असेल तर कोणत्या डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला होणार आहे, ऍटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशरला 100 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला होणार आहे, बरोबर. 100 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला पेपरचं कन्वर्जन कशामध्ये होणार आहे, लिक्विड मध्ये होणार आहे. पण कॉम्प्रेसरच्या आउटलेटला जर माझ्याकडे 140 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडचे पेपर असेल, वॉटर वेपर असेल, तर मी काय करणार आहे, ह्या वॉटर वेपरचं प्रेशर अशा पद्धतीने वाढवणार आहे जेणेकरून ह्याचा बॉइलिंग पॉइंट टेम्परेचर पण वाढणार आहे. कारण की बॉइलिंग पॉइंट टेम्परेचर अँड प्रेशर आर correlating with each other. As we are increasing the pressure, boiling point temperature of that substance will also goes on increasing. तर मी ह्या ठिकाणी काय करणार आहे, ऍटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशरला 100 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड बॉइलिंग पॉइंट टेम्परेचर आहे वॉटरचं. जर मी त्या वॉटरचं प्रेशर जर वाढवलं तर त्याचं काय होणार आहे, बॉइलिंग पॉइंट टेम्परेचर पण वाढणार आहे. म्हणजे काय होणार आहे, 100 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडचं जे काय पेपर कन्वर्जन लिक्विडचं पेपर मध्ये कन्वर्जन होत होतं ते 150 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला होणार. म्हणजे माझ्याकडे आता काय 140 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडची पेपर आहे, 140 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडची पेपर आहे. थोडीशी हीट रिलीज केली की काय होणार आहे, इझिली पेपरचं कन्वर्जन लिक्विड मध्ये होणार. दॅट्स वाय कंडेन्सर विल बी ऑलवेज मेंटेन ॲट अ हायर प्रेशर. कंडेन्सर will be always maintained at a higher pressure, whereas evaporator is always maintained at a lower pressure. Evaporator is always maintained at a lower pressure. Why evaporator is always maintained at a lower pressure? Because here my requirement is to convert that liquid refrigerant into vapor refrigerant easily. That liquid should get converted into vapor refrigerant easily. So by lowering the pressure, their boiling point temperature of that refrigerant will go on decreasing. By lowering the pressure, boiling point temperature of that refrigerant decreases. म्हणजे 100 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला जे बॉईल होणारं वॉटर होतं, जर मी जर प्रेशर रिड्यूस केलं तर सेम वॉटर किती डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला बॉईल होणार आहे, 60 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेडला बॉईल होणार आहे. प्रेशर रिड्यूस केलं तर म्हणजे ह्या ठिकाणी इझिली काय होणार आहे, लिक्विडचं कन्वर्जन पेपर मध्ये होणार. सो हियर that evaporating pressure and condenser pressure is also having the effect or impact on while selecting the refrigerant. So here while selecting the refrigerant, I have to take care that both evaporator and condenser pressure should be positive. Why that should be positive? आता कमी 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 करायचं म्हणजे नक्की किती कमी करायचं, that should not be suction pressure or that should not be the negative or vacuum pressure. What will happen if evaporating pressure will be negative pressure? So if there will be the leakage, there may be the chances that the air from the atmosphere may get sucked inside the system. So here while selecting the evaporating and condenser pressure, I have to select that both the pressure should be positive and it should be nearer to the atmospheric pressure as possible. It should be nearer to the atmospheric pressure as possible. Now, why that should be nearer to the atmospheric pressure as possible? That answer of this question you will get in the chapter number 2, where we are going to see the vapor compression refrigeration system. So at that time, I will also elaborate this point. Then positive pressure is necessary in order to prevent the leakage of air and moisture into the system. And if I'm going to maintain the high evaporating pressure and condenser pressure, जर माझं कंडेन्सर प्रेशर जर 70 बार असेल समजा आणि इव्हॅपोरेटिंग प्रेशर जर सपोज 25 बार असेल, तर 70 यू कॅन इमॅजिन जर 70 बार प्रेशर जर त्या कंडेन्सर पाईपला जर सस्टेन करायचं असेल, 70 बार प्रेशर जर त्या कंडेन्सर पाईपला सस्टेन करायचं असेल, तर ती कंडेन्सर पाईप आपल्याला कोणत्या मेटल पासून बनवावं लागेल किंवा हाऊ मच दॅट सिस्टम विल बी रोबस्ट. सो here high evaporating pressure and high condenser pressure will result into the stronger refrigeration system or robust refrigeration system. So that will lead to the higher initial cost. So while selecting the refrigerant, you have to select that refrigerant by considering this point in view of evaporating and condenser pressure. Are you getting? Now next one is nothing but the critical temperature. Now critical temperature and pressure. So where that critical temperature and pressure comes into existence. So critical temperature is nothing but temperature at which that liquid refrigerant is directly getting converted into vapor refrigerant irrespective of boiling point temperature. तुमचा boiling point temperature suppose 100 degree centigrade आहे. boiling point temperature suppose 100 degree centigrade आहे. पण तुमचं प्रेशर अशा पद्धतीने तुम्ही ऍडजस्ट केलं, ज्या ठिकाणी काय होईल, तुमचं जरी लिक्विडचं टेम्परेचर 40 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड असेल तरी पण काय होणार आहे, त्याला लिक्विडचं कन्वर्जन, लिक्विड इज गेटिंग कन्वर्टेड इनटू वेपर. सो दॅट विल बी कॉल्ड एज अ क्रिटिकल प्रेशर. अँड क्रिटिकल टेम्परेचर पण सेम थिंग आहे. सो क्रिटिकल टेम्परेचर ऑफ रेफ्रिजरंट इज नथिंग बट द हायेस्ट टेम्परेचर at which that refrigerant can be condensed into liquid regardless of higher pressure. So critical temperature and pressure is also playing a crucial role while selecting the refrigerant. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant in such a way that critical temperature and pressure of that refrigerant should be well above than the operating condenser temperature and pressure. आता हे कसं, समजा तुमचं कंडेन्सरचं टेम्परेचर जे आहे, वर्किंग टेम्परेचर आहे 30 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड आणि कंडेन्सरचं ऑपरेटिंग प्रेशर आहे सपोज 10 बार किंवा 5 बार कन्सिडर करा. 5 बार तुमचं क्रिटिकल प्रेशर, त्या रेफ्रिजरंटचं जर क्रिटिकल प्रेशर 9 बार असेल, जर 9 बार असेल, तर 9 बारचा अर्थ काय होते, ज्यावेळेस त्या रेफ्रिजरंटवरचं प्रेशर 9 बार होते त्यावेळेस रिगार्डलेस ऑफ टेम्परेचर, तुमच्या त्या रेफ्रिजरंटचं टेम्परेचर काही असू द्या, रिगार्डलेस ऑफ टेम्परेचर that refrigerant is getting converted from one phase to another phase. So that should not be the case. So here, while selecting the critical temperature and pressure, we have to select the critical temperature and pressure of that refrigerant in such a way that should be well above than the operating condenser temperature and pressure. म्हणजे ह्या ठिकाणी काय पाहिजे, ह्या सिस्टीम साठी जे काय क्रिटिकल टेम्परेचर आणि प्रेशर पाहिजे त्या रेफ्रिजरंटचं, that should be greater than 10 bar and greater than 30 degree centigrade. Are you getting? So that will be the point called as the critical temperature and pressure. Then next point is called as a latent heat of vaporization. So that latent heat of vaporization is also playing a crucial role while selecting the refrigerant. So latent heat of vaporization means we have seen that ammonia is possessing the highest latent heat of vaporization. That is nothing but 1300 something, 40 or 50. म्हणजे 1 kg अमोनियाचं लिक्विडचं कन्वर्जन जर पेपर मध्ये करायचं असेल, तर त्या ठिकाणी किती अमाऊंट ऑफ हीट लागते, 1345 किंवा 1365 काय तर होतं किलो जूल एवढी अमाऊंट ऑफ हीट लागते. 1300 समथिंग, आय एम नॉट रिमेंबरिंग एक्झॅक्ट फिगर. So that much amount of heat is requiring. So that is called as a latent heat of vaporization. So here, where that latent heat of vaporization is playing crucial role. So that latent heat of vaporization is playing crucial role in case of evaporator. So our main target in case of evaporator is to convert the liquid refrigerant into vapor refrigerant. Liquid refrigerant into vapor refrigerant. And while converting that liquid refrigerant into vapor refrigerant, that refrigerant should absorb maximum amount of heat. That refrigerant should absorb maximum amount of heat. That is our target. So to absorb the maximum amount of heat, if the latent heat of vaporization of that refrigerant will be higher, then by passing the smaller quantity of refrigerant also we can achieve, or by passing the smaller quantity of refrigerant also we can absorb the sufficient amount of heat. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant which is having the higher value of latent heat of vaporization. So that is related to the latent heat of vaporization. So here we have completed thermodynamic properties of the refrigerant. Now after thermodynamic property, next type of property is nothing but the chemical properties. But before that, before proceeding to the chemical properties, whatever thermodynamic properties we have studied. So for different types of refrigerant, so all the thermodynamic properties here they have mentioned. So here R12. So here this line is indicating for R12 refrigerant. So if R12, I'm going to consider R12 as a refrigerant, then boiling point temperature of R12 is -29, freezing point temperature -157, latent heat of vaporization in terms of kilojoule per kg is nothing but 166.95. Critical temperature is nothing but 112 degrees centigrade. Critical pressure is nothing but 41.15 degrees centigrade. Specific heat is nothing but 0.74. That is nothing but specific heat. So similarly for R22, R134A, R404A, then R407A, then NH3, ammonia, water, and carbon dioxide. So these are nothing but the different values related of that refrigerant related to the various thermodynamic properties. Are you getting? Now, after thermodynamic properties, our next point is called as the chemical properties of the refrigerant. So that chemical properties of refrigerant is also called as the safe working properties of refrigerant. That is also called as the safe working properties of refrigerant. So first chemical property is nothing but flammability. Flammability means jwalanshilta. Second one is called as the toxicity. Third one is called as the miscibility. Then next one is called as the chemical stability, and last one is called as the effect on stored food. Last one is called as the effect on stored food. So these are the five important chemical properties of all the refrigerant. So we'll see one by one all the type of chemical properties related to the refrigerant. So first one is called as the flammability and explosion hazards. Flammability and explosion hazard. So while selecting the refrigerant, ideal refrigerant should not have the ideal refrigerant should be non-flammable in nature. That should not be flammable or explosive in nature. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant which is non-flammable in nature as well as non-explosive in nature. Which is non-flammable in nature and non-explosive in nature. So here whatever various types of refrigerant we have seen. So out of that, whatever hydrocarbon type of refrigerants are there. So whether screen is visible, whether my screen is visible, can anyone reply? Yes or no? Can anyone reply? Whether my screen is visible? आहे का स्क्रीन विजिबल? कोण सांगेल? Okay. Writing in the chat. Now so while selecting the refrigerant, whatever various types of refrigerants are there, while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant which is non-flammable in nature and non-explosive in nature. So whatever hydrocarbon types of refrigerants are there, fourth category. So all the hydrocarbon refrigerants are highly flammable in nature. All the hydrocarbons refrigerants are highly flammable in nature. Whatever inorganic refrigerants are there, so from that inorganic refrigerant, whatever ammonia is there, that is flammable as well as explosive. That is flammable as well as explosive. When that ammonia will get mixed with the air, and whatever halocarbon refrigerants are there, all the halocarbon refrigerants are non-flammable in nature as well as non-explosive in nature. Then second property is called as a toxicity. Toxicity means visharupana. So here, if by chance there is a leakage of refrigerant from the system, so if there will be the leakage, so because of that leakage, that refrigerant will get mixed with the atmospheric air, and if that refrigerant will go to the human body, respiratory system. So if that refrigerant will be toxic in nature, then that will cause the dangerous to that human body. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to consider the toxicity of that refrigerant also. This property is also important. So while selecting the refrigerant, that refrigerant should be non-toxic as well as non-irritating. That refrigerant should be non-toxic as well as non-irritating to the human body. So there may be some refrigerant which are there are some refrigerant which are irritating to the human body, such as eyes, nose, or throat. So that will be called as the irritating refrigerant. But while selecting the refrigerant, we have to take care that that refrigerant should be non-toxic in nature, that should be non-irritating. The next one is called as the miscibility. Now miscibility is nothing but the property of that refrigerant to get mixed with the oil. To get mixed with the oil. Now here, as our refrigerant is circulating throughout the system, so while circulating that refrigerant throughout the system, as we are knowing that compressor is having the number of moving parts. So for proper functioning of compressor, we require to give the lubricating oil, or we require to provide some of the lubricating oil to that compressor. So there may be the chances that that lubricating oil will also come in contact with the refrigerant. That lubricating oil is also come in contact with the refrigerant. So if that lubricating oil will come in contact with the refrigerant, then if that refrigerant will get mixed with the lubricating oil or with that oil, then that will be called as a miscibility. So the ability of refrigerant to get mixed with the oil, that is called as the miscibility. So here, miscible type of refrigerants are advantageous, or that refrigerants should be selected from heat transfer point of view. Why that should be selected? Because if that refrigerant will be miscible, then there will be the smooth transportation. There will be the smooth transportation of the refrigerant from one part to the another part of the system, and because of that, the heat transfer of that refrigerant will also goes on increasing. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant in such a way that that refrigerant should be miscible in nature. That refrigerant should be miscible in nature. Then next one is called as a chemical stability. Next one is nothing but chemical stability of refrigerant. Now, as we have seen that all the types of refrigerants are having chemical formulas in terms of CCl, F2, or CCl2F2. So here, these are nothing but the bonding between various atoms: carbon, chlorine, hydrogen, likewise. So as that refrigerant has to pass through the refrigeration system, so that refrigerant has to come or has to experience the different temperature at the different point. म्हणजे जर consider केलं आपण compressor, कॉम्प्रेसरच्या इनलेटला रेफ्रिजरंटचं टेम्परेचर वेगळं असणार आहे, कॉम्प्रेसरच्या आउटलेटला रेफ्रिजरंटचं टेम्परेचर वेगळं असणार आहे. देन कंडेन्सरच्या इनलेटला रेफ्रिजरंटचं टेम्परेचर वेगळं असणार आहे, कंडेन्सरच्या आउटलेटला रेफ्रिजरंटचं टेम्परेचर वेगळं असणार आहे. त्यानंतर एक्सपान्शन डिव्हाइसच्या इनलेटला आणि एक्सपान्शन डिव्हाइसच्या आउटलेटला रेफ्रिजरंटचं टेम्परेचर वेगळं असणार आहे. इव्हापोरेटरच्या इनलेटला आणि इव्हापोरेटरच्या आउटलेटला रेफ्रिजरंटचं टेम्परेचर असणार वेगळं असणार आहे. That means because of this changing temperature, because of that changing temperature, there may be the possibility that chemical stability of that refrigerant goes on losing. That means there will be the decomposition. त्या ठिकाणी कार्बन सेपरेट झाला किंवा फ्लोरीन सेपरेट झाला किंवा क्लोरीन सेपरेट झाला फ्रॉम दॅट केमिकल फॉर्म्युला. So that will be called as the decomposition of that refrigerant. That will be called as the decomposition of that refrigerant. So here, while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant in such a way that is chemically stable. That should not decompose at variation in the temperature. म्हणजे टेम्परेचर वाढलं किंवा टेम्परेचर कमी झालं त्यामुळे त्या ठिकाणी डिकम्पोजिशन होतात आम्हाला. So here, while selecting the refrigerant based on chemical stability, we have to select the refrigerant in such a way that refrigerant should not decompose at higher temperature. That should be chemically stable. Are you getting? Then last property related to the chemical properties, that is nothing but the effect on stored food or effect on the stored product. So suppose in refrigeration system, we have used that refrigeration system for preservation of some food, some food or preservation of some vegetable. And by chance, if there is a leakage of that refrigerant from that system, so if there will be the leakage of refrigerant from that system, then that refrigerant will come in contact with the stored product. That may be food, that may be vegetable. And if that will get reacted on that stored product, that means if taste, quality or color of that product will goes on changing, taste, quality or color of that product will goes on changing, or if that product will get damaged, then there will not be having any use. There will not be any use of using that refrigerant. So here, while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select that refrigerant in such a way that should not affect on the color, taste as well as quality of the product. When that stored product will come in contact with the refrigerant by leakage. So that is called as the effect on stored product. So this is all the 5 properties are coming under the chemical or safe working properties of the refrigerant. So what is the summary point? Summary point is related to chemical property. While selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant in such a way that should be non-flammable in nature, that should be non-explosive in nature, that should be non-toxic. Also, that should not be reacting with the lubricating oil, but that should get mixed with the lubricating oil. Reaction with the lubricating oil and mixing with the lubricating oil, that both the things are different. So here, that refrigerant should not react with the lubricating oil, but it should get mixed with the lubricating oil. Also, that should not react with the moisture as well as contaminant from the food material which is kept inside the refrigeration system. So these are the important points related to the chemical properties of refrigerant or safe working properties of a refrigerant. Now last point is called as the physical properties of the refrigerant. So there are various physical properties of refrigerant. Out of that, first one is called as the specific volume of the refrigerant. Second one is called as the viscosity of the refrigerant. Next one is called as the corrosive property of refrigerant. After that, thermal conductivity of the refrigerant. Then specific heat of the liquid and vapor. And I think last physical property, next property is nothing but odor, and last physical property is nothing but the leak tendency. So one by one, we'll see all these physical properties of the refrigerant. So out of that, first one is nothing but the specific volume. First one is nothing but the specific volume. Now where that specific volume will come or will have the effect. So that specific volume of refrigerant will decide which type of compressor we have to use. Which type of compressor we have to use, and what should be the size of that compressor. What should be the size of that compressor. So as far as possible, while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant which will have the low specific volume, which will have the low specific volume. So low specific volume refrigerant will reduce the size of compressor, will reduce the size of compressor, and that is always desirable. So here, depending upon the refrigerant, we can use three types of compressor. We can use three types of compressor in our refrigeration system. So first compressor will be called as a reciprocating type of compressor. Second one will be called as the centrifugal type of compressor, and third one will be called as a rotary type of compressor. So when to use centrifugal type of compressor, when to use centrifugal type of when to use reciprocating type of compressor, when to use centrifugal type of compressor, and when to use rotary type of compressor. So if our refrigerant is having the low specific volume, if our refrigerant is having the low specific volume and high pressure, then in that case we have to use the reciprocating type of compressor. If our refrigerant is having the high specific volume and low pressure, then in that case we have to use turbo type of, or that is also called as a centrifugal type of compressor. And if our refrigerant is having intermediate specific volume as well as intermediate pressure, then in that case, while selecting the compressor in that refrigeration system, we have to select the rotary type of compressor. So this is the related to the, or this is nothing but the selection of compressor based on the specific volume of refrigerant. Now second one is nothing but the viscosity. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant which is having the low viscosity. So how to select the low viscosity refrigerant? So low viscosity refrigerant will be or that will be transferred from one location to another location without pressure drop. So as we have to carry out the refrigerant throughout the system, and we have to continuously circulate that refrigerant to the same system. So while selecting the refrigerant, that refrigerant should have the low viscosity so that that refrigerant will be carried out throughout the system easily, and there will not be any type of pressure drop in the lines of refrigeration system. So that property, viscosity, we have to take care. Then next one is nothing but the corrosive property. So as we are knowing that refrigeration system is closed loop system. That means whatever refrigerant we are having, that refrigerant will be circulated through that system again and again, And as whatever that refrigeration system is made up of, that refrigeration system is made up of different material. So as that refrigerant is always in contact with that material of the refrigeration system, so that refrigerant should not cause the corrosive property, or that refrigerant should not corrode the material, system material. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant which is non-corrosive in nature, So whatever ammonia as a refrigerant is there. So for multiple choice question, this line is very much important. So whatever ammonia as a refrigerant is there, so whenever I want to use ammonia as a refrigerant, then in that case I have to only made up that system with the help of iron or steel. So ammonia will be used as a refrigerant along with iron or steel only. So except iron or steel, if I am going to use any another material while making that system, then that ammonia will corrode that system material. So ammonia is only used with the iron or steel. Then next refrigerant property is called as the thermal conductivity. So here thermal conductivity means ability of that refrigerant to carry out the heat, and as that refrigeration system is all about carry out the heat from one location to another location. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant which is having the higher thermal conductivity, Then next one is called as the specific heat of liquid refrigerant and specific heat of vapor refrigerant. So specific heat is nothing but the amount of heat which is substance by 1 degree centigrade, by 1 degree centigrade at constant pressure or at constant volume. So here, whatever that specific heat of liquid and specific heat of vapor is there, that is affecting on the subcooling as well as superheating of the refrigerant. That is affecting on the subcooling and superheating of the refrigeration system. So that subcooling and superheating will have the effect on the will have the effect on the COP of the system. So here always subcooling is desirable. Whereas superheating only up to 5 degrees centigrade is desirable in case of vapor compression refrigeration system. So if I'm going to increase the superheating, the value of COP of that system will go on decreasing. And if I'm going to increase the subcooling, the value of COP of that system will go on increasing. So while selecting the refrigerant based on specific heat, so I have to select the refrigerant in such a way that refrigerant should have low specific heat in liquid refrigerant or in liquid condition. So low specific heat will help in subcooling. And that refrigerant should have the high specific heat in vapor case or in vapor condition. So high specific heat in vapor condition will resist the superheating of that refrigeration system. Are you getting? So this point is also important as far as your multiple choice question is concerned. So ideal refrigerant should have the low specific heat and should have the low specific heat in case of liquid and high specific heat in vapor condition. Why? Because low specific heat in liquid condition will help in subcooling, which will increase the COP of the refrigeration system, and high specific heat in vapor refrigerant or in vapor case will resist the superheating. That will resistance of superheating will also increase the COP of the system. Are you getting? Then next one is nothing but order. So different order is important, or different order. Because of that different order, we will get or we will come to know that leakage of refrigerant. So from detection of leakage of refrigerant, from the point of detection of leakage of refrigerant, distinct order or different order is desirable, but it should not spoil the taste of the food. So that here we have to consider. So that is related to the order. And last one is nothing but the leak tendency. So while selecting the refrigerant, we have to select the refrigerant in such a way that should not have any type of leak tendency. Are you getting? So this is related to properties of refrigerant. So in this lecture, we have seen all the thermodynamic property, then chemical property and physical properties of the refrigerant. Are you getting? Now, as our time is over, so I will take the attendance, and after taking the attendance, our lecture will get in. So wait for 1 minute. Okay. Give the attendance. Roll number 1. Roll number 1 absent. 2 present. 3 present. Roll number 4 absent. Roll number 5 present. 6 present. Roll number 7 absent. Then roll number 8 present. Roll number 9 absent. Roll number 10 present. Then 11 absent. 12 absent. 13 absent. 14 absent. Then 15 present. Roll number 16 absent. 17 present. 18 present. Roll number 19 present. Roll number 20 absent. 21 present. Then 22 absent. 23 absent. 24 absent. 25 present. Then roll number 26 absent. 27 absent. 28 absent. 29 absent. 30 absent, 31 absent, 32 absent, 33 absent. Roll number 34 present, 35 present. Then 36 absent, 37 absent, 38 absent, 39 absent. Roll number 40 absent, 41 absent. Then roll number 42 present, 43 present, 44 present. Roll number 45 absent. Roll number 46 present, then 47 absent, 48 absent, 49 absent. Roll number 50 present, 51 present, 52 absent, then 53 present, 54 absent, 55 present, 56 absent, 57 absent, 58 present. Roll number 59 absent. Roll number 60 absent, 61 absent, 62 present, 62 present. Okay. Then 63 absent, 64 absent, 65 present. Then 65 present, 66 absent, 67 absent, 68 absent, 69 absent, 70 absent, 71 absent, 72 present, 73 present, 74 absent, 75 absent, 76 absent. Then 47 present. After that, roll number 60 present. Irfan Mulani, what is your roll number? Irfan Mulani, 54. Okay. So I have taken the attendance. So if anybody
Hello
has
sir,
not given
14
the,
present.
if anybody has not given the attendance, please tell me your roll number. Roll number 14.
BA 14 sir.
Okay. In another 14 present. Okay. So you can exit the lecture. Thank you for attending the lecture.